Hello everyone, it's your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black, the one and only, here with another exciting video. And in this video I'm going to be playing some AI Dungeon 2. Some AI Dungeon 2. That's right, this is episode 12 of Jet, Starlight, and Zana Fairy Monster Hunters. If you guys have not watched episodes 1 through 11, I highly recommend that you click on the link in the description box below to the series playlist. There will also be a link to the series playlist on the end card. If you would like to read the story in full on the AI Dungeon website, I have a link to that in the description box below as well. And if you guys would like to talk about the show together, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below or on our Discord. I have a link to the Discord in the description as well. So without further ado, let's start off episode 12 by reading the last action from the previous episode. You say, "It's good to see you, Zana. I didn't know you were already here. Let's return to the inn and rest for the night. In the morning, we can start getting ready to hunt down Chief Morinspeck." "I agree," Zana says. "It was good to see you again, Ludmilla." "Likewise," Ludmilla says. You leave the castle and make your way back to the inn. In the morning, you and Zana split up to get ready. So I actually have a lot of plans for what I'm going to do this time around. So first off, I should go eat breakfast at the inn with your fellow members of the Monster Hunter Guild. So first I'm going to eat breakfast so that later the game's not like, you're tired because you didn't eat breakfast or whatever. You make your way to the dining room of the inn, where you and your fellow guild members gather around a table to enjoy a hot breakfast. "Good morning, everyone," you say to the group. "Why, hello, Zana," they all say in unison. It mentioned earlier that Zana and I split up, so I imagine that Zana didn't go to the hall. And I'm not Zana. I'm Jet Starlight. So I'm just going to say that. I'm just going to have them say, "Hello, Jet Starlight," because that's my name. Okay. So, what I'm going to do is finish eating breakfast and thank Hamid for the delicious meal. There we go. Okay, so we have to update the story summary real quick. So now I'm going to say, you have just finished eating breakfast with your fellow Monster Hunter Guild members. You are now getting ready to hire a mystical architect. Because that's like a big thing that I want to do. I want to get like a magic training room so that we can actually train before we hunt monsters. You thank Hamid for the delicious meal and exit the dining room. Outside you see Zana standing by the stairs to the upper floors in a dress. Let's see. I'm going to compliment Zana on her dress. Well, I guess compliment Zana's dress? Question mark? Like, I guess that's what you would do. I feel like the AI might, there we go. "You look very pretty in that dress today." Zana smiles and says, "Thank you, kind sir." "Let's go downstairs to the tavern," you say. "Let's stay up here in my room," Zana replies. Let's see. Maybe another time. I am actually about to go hire a mystical architect to help build us a magical training room. Zana trying to hit on you like first thing in the morning. "I'm sorry," Zana replies. Zana lowers her head and departs from you in shame. You feel very guilty about hurting her feelings, but you really don't think it would be a good idea for you two to be intimate. Okay. Hold on. I'm not trying to hurt her feelings. You apologize to Zana for hurting her feelings. Yeah, I mean, that's the first thing you should do. You apologize to Zana for hurting her feelings. I'm sorry, Zana. I didn't mean to upset you, you say. It's okay, Zana says. Maybe we will be intimate one day. You both hug and part ways for the day. Okay. The game's like, why aren't you smashing? Okay, so let's go hire the mystical architect. Look for a mystical architect. That is available for hire. You look all over the kingdom for a mystical architect, but there is no such thing. Apparently, there's not been a magical building constructed in the kingdom for centuries. Oh no. Okay, that makes it seem like trying to get like a magical training room is like literally an impossible thing. Like magical buildings just don't exist anymore. Um, How do you train to fight a monster? Okay, here we go. I'm gonna look for well, we already have an illusionist. I guess look for, we can always have another one. Look for a magical illusionist. Who is available for hire. Because that will kind of work the same way. You look all over the kingdom for a magical illusionist, but there is no such thing. Apparently, all magical people in the kingdom have been taken to the king's private collection or have gone into hiding. You return to the guild and ask Zana if she has any ideas. So that's just not true. We have like hella magical people in the Monster Hunter guild. Plus, Eliza can make illusions. I just kind of want Eliza to just do her normal thing. I mean, Eliza's good with a sword. She's like helped out on missions before with like cutting up enemies. But maybe she could become like the training person. And she just creates like training illusions for us. So I'm going to just undo that action. I just won't look for a magical illusionist. I can always just use Eliza. So I'm going to promote Eliza to become the Monster Hunter Guild's new battle trainer. I didn't know what to call it. I didn't know what like the position would be. You promote Eliza to become the new battle trainer. What? You promote Eliza to become the new battle trainer. Eliza's husband, Lewis, becomes the new director of Monster Hunters Inc. The following year, you retire, and your daughter takes over as the new director of the Monster Hunter Guild. Nope. For one, I'm Eliza's husband, so that doesn't really work out. And then two, I don't have a daughter, so it's just kind of bullshitting. Tanya may be my daughter, technically, I guess, now that I think about it, because we did get her from the orphanage. Eliza becomes a popular trainer. Many hunters come to her for advice on how to fight werewolves, vampires, and other monsters. Zana also becomes a well-respected trainer. The two of them eventually get married and have a child together. I like everything about that except the last part. Again, I'm just already married to both Zana and Eliza. Plus, it's trying to time skip, like, way too far. For this one, I'm not going to retry or revert. I'm just going to get rid of the last line. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is say, tell Eliza that she should create illusions. Well, I guess tell Eliza that her role as battle trainer will involve her creating illusions of monsters that the Monster Hunter Guild can fight in preparation for hunts. Or I guess to prepare for future hunts. Because I feel like last episode we were totally ready to fight the lion monster, but for whatever reason we weren't able to just fight the lion monster because everybody was scared. So we had all the gear we needed, but people weren't mentally ready. So I think if we get all the gear we need and we train and then we go fight the monster, there will just be no surprises. Like we'll just be ready. Okay. You are instructing Eliza on how to complete her duties as the Monster Hunter Guild's new battle trainer. Eliza creates an illusion of a powerful vampire lord that has been plaguing the kingdom for the hunters to fight. When she tries to create an illusion of the werewolves that one of the guild members has the misfortune of having a curse that turns him into a werewolf. What? When she tries to create an illusion of the werewolves that one of the guild members has the misfortune of having a curse that turns him into a werewolf. That sentence just didn't make sense. I'm gonna get rid of that last sentence. But yeah, we can fight the like vampire lord illusion or whatever. I didn't really mean for her to do that right now, but fuck it. Yeah, like let's do it. Okay, so ooh, that actually sounds like a cool idea. I've never tried to do this before. So I'm going to use elemental type shifting to transform into a being of solar energy and attack the vampire illusion with a quick flurry of blows. I've noticed that recently when I use elemental type shifting, I transform into the element, so I'm just going to embrace that. I think if I'm made of solar energy, I should fuck up a vampire. You strike the illusionary vampire lord in the chest, releasing a ball of flame. Your exercise is interrupted by your mother entering the room. It's time for you to go to work, she says. You walk with her to the animal shelter. Nope. AI is trying to take it in a weird way. I'm going to keep everything but... pretty much I'm just going to keep the first sentence. Just you strike the illusionary vampire lord in the chest, releasing a ball of flame. Because that was consistent. If like Zana or Tanya or any other member of the guild had walked into the room, that would have made more sense. But my mom hasn't appeared before, and the Monster Hunter Guild just is my job. So let's see. So I released a ball of flame. I don't know if that finished off the vampire illusion. So next I'm going to use elemental type shifting to transform into a being made of holy water and grab the vampire illusion. I'm trying to see if I can defeat the vampire illusion by like turning into its weaknesses. You grab the vampire illusion and begin to squeeze. I have you now, you say. Eliza looks impressed by your display of skill. The vampire lord's illusionary guard releases a bolt of magic straight through your heart. Oh my goodness. AI is somewhere between pretty good and not so great, I would say. I keep having to correct it on stuff. Let's see. So I'm going to use hydrokinesis to create a hydrokinetic healing salve to heal your wounds. It's interesting to actually have like a training fight like in the middle of the thing, because it seems like episodes now will have multiple fights. You take a glob of salve and coat it over the area where you were shot. Your health is fully restored. Okay. So now I'm going to use your thunder stick to quickly dispatch the vampire illusion and the vampire guard illusion. I'm trying to see if I can finish them off with a thunder stick, because it's pretty powerful. You fire your shotgun, blowing the vampire illusion's head clean off his shoulders. It's not a shotgun. It's like, how's it doing? Still not so great. Because thunder sticks just are a thing, like in universe. So I'm just gonna correct it from shotgun to thunder stick. I accidentally said thought gun at first. Okay. And then I'm going to race towards the vampire guard illusion and attempt to impale it through the chest with your thunder stick. You hit the vampire guard illusion in the chest. Yes, you say happily as the vampire guard illusion looks down at his chest in confusion. The vampire lord's illusionary guard fires a bolt of lightning at you. That wasn't enough to kill him. Okay, fair enough. I'm going to attempt to deflect the lightning attack. Actually, how would I deflect the lightning attack if the lightning... Yeah, like my sword is in its chest still, and I'm like point blank, like standing right in front of the guard. So I don't think I'd be able to deflect it unless I was moving at like superhuman speeds. I would need to do something immediately defensive. I guess I would have to use hydrokinesis to summon a suit of armor around your body in an attempt to deflect the lightning attack back at the vampire lord's illusionary guard. Ooh, crap. Okay. So right now, to update the story context, you are training with Eliza. Eliza has summoned an illusion of a vampire guard that you are trying to defeat as a part of your training. There we go. Let's see. Unfortunately, the bolt of lightning is much stronger than you expect. And then it doesn't have to repeat that it's firing a bolt of lightning at you. That's already happening. So the suit of armor didn't really help. But I think I might have an idea. I'm going to use elemental type shifting to transform into rubber to protect yourself from the lightning blast. Because rubber doesn't conduct electricity. The lightning blast melts your rubber armor into your skin. Ouch, you say. The Vampire Lord's illusionary guard shoots you in the back with a steel bolt. Ah, shit. Okay, so this is not going as planned. Use hydrokinetic healing salve to heal your wounds. Use elemental type shifting to transform into a being made of wood and attempt to impale the Vampire Lord's illusionary guard with your wooden stake hand. Like, I'm essentially trying to, like, kill him, because I need to start doing what I did against the Vampire Lord, where I was trying to become vampire weaknesses in order to beat them. You apply the healing salve to your wounds. You attempt to slam the Vampire Lord's illusionary guard with a wooden fist, but he manages to dodge out of the way. The Vampire Lord's illusionary guard shoots you in the back with a steel bolt. Okay, damn. Attempt to disarm the Vampire Lord's illusionary guard by wrestling away their weapons. Because if he doesn't have whatever he's using to hit me with steel bolts, then he can't hit me with steel bolts. You take the Vampire Lord's illusionary guard's pistol out of their hands. The Vampire Lord's illusionary guard fumbles with a glass vial. The glass vial breaks inside the Vampire Lord's illusionary guard's hands, and they begin to turn to ash. Hey. Let's see. I'm going to use hydrokinetic healing salve once again to heal your wounds. And thank Eliza for the exciting training session. Because that was fun. I didn't really expect to like immediately start training with her, but that was dope. You apply the healing salve to your wounds. Thanks, Eliza, you say, as you pull out your vial of healing salve. That was some training session, Eliza says. You nod in agreement as you rub salve into your skin. Okay, cool. So now we have a battle trainer. So I'm going to visit Bartleby. Not Bartleby. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm going to visit Big Kamid and ask him to write up a report on Chief Morinspeck, because we need to try and hunt down Chief Morinspeck for Ludmilla. That was a mission that we got last episode. That details his powers, weaknesses, and common locations. You walk into Big Kamid's office, which smells strongly of garlic. Hello, Big Kamid, you say. Big Kamid looks up from his desk and nods at you. Hello, Big Kamid, you say. Hi, boss, Big Kamid replies. I don't need to say hello, Big Kamid twice, so I'm going to get rid of the second hello, Big Kamid. Let's see. And then I'm going to ask Big Kamid to write up a report on Chief Morinspeck's powers, weaknesses, and common locations. I imagine his office smells strongly of garlic because he's mentioned in the past that he's not a fan of Ludmilla. Like, he has something against vampires. So I feel like it makes sense that his office would smell like garlic. Let's see. You are in Big Cayman's office requesting a report on Chief Morinspeck's powers, weaknesses, and common locations. I'm going to get rid of the part where I exit the office because I have no intention of leaving the office. So now I'm going to wait for Big Cayman to finish his report on Chief Morinspeck. I'll be specific. Finish his report on Chief Morinspeck's powers, weaknesses, and common locations. Big Cayman grunts and hands you a stack of papers. All right, boss, Big Cayman said. Here's the report on Chief Morinspeck. Okay, and then I'm going to thank Big Cayman for his help. You walk out of Big Cayman's office and head towards Cayman's lab. You find Cayman mixing a strange concoction that looks like water and milk. What are you doing, you ask? Cayman turns around and smiles when he sees you. Cayman's lab. So Cayman is like the cook at the inn, where Big Cayman is like the guy who's like the monster scholar. Tanya's our potion master who like makes potions and stuff. This seems like a Tanya scene, but for some reason they made it Cayman. I can either edit it to be like you go to Tanya's lab, which I don't want to do, because I have no reason to visit Tanya right now. I really am just going to retry it, because it didn't thank Big Cayman. Big Cayman grunted when he handed me the stack of papers. I want him to know that he's appreciated. I'm like trying to thank him for a reason. You make your way back to your room. On the way, you stop to pick up Anna and Voltaire. Don't know who Voltaire is. Voltaire's eyes are now normal again, though they've been replaced with a distant look. So that's just like a random character thing. It's still trying to puppet me. Just let me thank Big Cayman. I want to thank Big Cayman. I appreciate it, you say. No problem, boss, Big Cayman says. Okay, awesome. So we finally thanked him. So I'm going to read the report on Chief Morinspeck. I could have been more specific and said, read the report on Chief Morinspeck's powers, weaknesses, and common locations. I might go back and change that if it gives me like a weird thing. Yeah, like it gave me such a like blank and vague response. So I'm gonna undo that. Yeah, just undo that. And then say, read the report on Chief Morinspeck to find out Chief Morinspeck's powers, weaknesses, and common locations. You say, as you read the report on Chief Morinspeck. It says here his powers include immortality, invincibility, teleportation, and shapeshifting. Eliza's not currently here, so I'm going to get rid of the part that says, that's pretty standard for a vampire, Eliza says. Anything else? You not. I'm going to get rid of that part. I'm just going to say out loud as I read the report that you can't kill him. You can't kill Chief Morinspeck. He's actually invincible and unslayable, and he can teleport, and he can shapeshift. Ay caramba. Okay. I kind of am starting to form like an idea of how we might try to beat him. Let's figure out what Chief Morinspeck's weaknesses are. Read the report on Chief Morinspeck to find out his weaknesses. Goodness. I can't believe he's immortal and invincible and can teleport and can shapeshift. You say as you read the report on Chief Morinspeck. It says here that he's very good at everything he does. Oh no. Oh, you can't. Damn, hold on. He's invincible, immortal, can teleport, can shapeshift, and he has no weaknesses. Okay. You read the report on Chief Morinspeck to find out his common locations. And he's a teleporter too. He can literally just run away. You say, as you read the report on Chief Morinspeck. It says here that he spends most of his time at a large fortress in the eastern forest. Okay, cool. So now I know everything that I need to know about Chief Morinspeck. I'm gonna visit Bartleby and ask him if he can create a weapon. If he can create weapons for the Monster Hunter Guild that can kill immortal beings. We may just have to not kill, Chief Morinspeck. Let's see. You were talking to Bartleby. And requesting that he create weapons and armor to help fight against Chief Morinspeck. I can try, Bartleby says. Bartleby begins to hammer, chop, cut, and carve a large block of metal. This should do it, he says, after a few hours of work. Interesting. I'm gonna ask Bartleby, what is the name of his immortal killing weapon? It's a metal glove studded with an array of the world's most poisonous substances and plants, Bartleby says proudly. Perfect for killing immortals. Okay. Ask Bartleby what his new weapon is called. Because now I know how it works, which is what I was going to ask next, but I don't know what it's called, though. What is the name of it? He just repeated himself for the most part. I'm going to retry that. He keeps repeating. I just want to know what it's called. Tell me, give me a name. Is it like the God Killer glove? Is it like... Come on, come on. So it's still stuck in like a repetitive mode. I'll name it if he can't name it. That's like the worst case scenario. So now it's like, I ask him what it's called, he explains what it is, and then I say, immortal killing weapon, and then he goes, exactly, and then he hands me the glove. Let me try a different approach at asking him. I'm gonna say, what do you call your new immortal killing weapon? Gosh, what? The game's like, you don't understand. He's not gonna tell you what it's called. He's just gonna tell you what it is. Okay, let me go back. I'm gonna undo that. So now here's what I'm gonna say. Do you think God Killer glove would be a cool name for your new weapon? Yes, Bartleby says. Yes, I do. Awesome. It's now called the God Killer Glove. I was hoping that he'd come up with a cool name, like his name for like dragon armor and for like thunder sticks. I really liked that. This time around, he's like, "Yo, I'm not about trying to tell you what the name is. You come up with the name, I guess." So next up, hmm, I'm going to ask Bartleby to create God Killer gloves for all members of the Monster Hunter Guild. I can try, Bartleby says. Bartleby begins hammering, chopping, cutting, and carving a large block of metal. This should do it, he says after a few hours of work. And then it says several weeks later. It kind of repeated and it said two different contradicting things, so I'm just going to hit retry on that. I can try, Bartleby says. Bartleby begins to hammer, chop, cut, and carve multiple blocks of metal. These should do it, he says after a few hours of work. Okay, there we go. I was fine with the several weeks thing, but it's like you need like some kind of in between. Like he either needs to make it in a few hours or in several weeks. So it looks like he can do it in a few hours, which is great. Next up, I'm gonna ask Bartleby if he can create armor that can protect the wearer from being teleported against their will. Because if we had that, then we don't have to worry about Chief Morinspeck like teleporting us into a volcano or something. Bartleby says, my armor is almost always in prototype, Bartleby says. But I think I have the materials to create a suit that will protect the wearer from teleportation. Just give me a few days. A few days later. This should do it. Okay, awesome. So then I'm going to ask Bartleby what is the name of his new armor that protects the wearer from being teleported against their will. It's Bastion armor, Bartleby says. Each piece of it is made with a metal that prevents teleportation. The Monster Hunter Guild is now battle ready. So I'm going to get rid of that last part where it says like the guild is battle ready, because as far as I can tell, he's only made one suit of armor. So now I'm going to ask Bartleby to create Bastion armor for every member of the Monster Hunter Guild. I can try, Bartleby says. Bartleby begins to hammer, chop, cut, and carve multiple blocks of metal. These should do it, he says, after a few hours of work. Wait until the day of the attack before putting them on. Interesting. So I'm going to ask Bartleby why we should wait until the day of the attack to wear the Bastion armor. Like, why the, like, wait until the day of in order to do it? If you wear it any earlier, you'll get used to it, and then it won't work when you really need it, Bartleby says. Trust me, I've been doing this for a lot longer than you have. Fair enough. Okay. Ask Bartleby, does that mean that the Bastion armor only will protect from teleportation for a limited time. Yeah, like, is it a thing where, after like a certain, yes, Bartley says, the protection only lasts for 1 hour. After that, the piece of armor in question will lose its power. You should only use it during the teleportation itself. I'm going to change the during the teleportation and that. I'm going to change it to you should only use it during the battle. It is needed in. Or during the battle it is needed for. Okay. I'm going to thank Bartleby for creating the God Killer gloves and Bastion armor for the Monster Hunter Guild. I guess for everyone in the Monster Hunter Guild. So it's interesting that the Bastion armor is like a temporary thing. No problem, Bartleby says. Bartleby is always happy to help the guild out. He's a good friend. You wonder if this plan will work. Time will tell. Yeah, like, I actually am legitimately curious, because we can't even train with the Bastion armor on. You know, like, we'll have to just train with the God Killer gloves and hope that that's good enough. So the next thing that I'll do, because now we have, like, all the equipment that we would need. Well, not quite all the equipment. I'm going to visit Tanya and ask her if she can create a potion that can stop shapeshifters from shapeshifting. Because if we can stop Chief Morinspeck from shapeshifting, we don't have to worry about it. You knock on Tanya's door and she answers. Hello, Tanya. I have an important question to ask you. Okay, but make it quick. I have work to do. You try to speak, but you're nervous. The fuck? I don't know why the game makes me nervous for, like, no reason. I'm gonna get rid of the you try to speak, but you're nervous. I don't know why I would be nervous to talk. I'm like the leader of the guild. Okay. So essentially what I'm going to, ooh, I accidentally, like, zoomed in a little bit. There we go. So now I'm going to ask Tanya if she can create potions that can stop shapeshifters from shapeshifting temporarily. Tanya looks surprised at your question. How did you know? I've been meaning to ask Zana and the rest for help in making some of those. They're really hard to make, but I'm confident that with help, I'll be able to make them. Okay. I'm going to, I guess I should change from do to say. I'm going to say, if I made Rose's role on the team being your assistant, then Rose could use his plant manipulation abilities to make any ingredients you would need for potions. Do you think that would help? Because Rose right now doesn't have, like, a specific role on the team. So if Rose did have that role on the team, I think that'd be great. So let's see. I'm I am talking to Tanya about making potions that could prevent a shapeshifter from shapeshifting temporarily. Okay. So yeah, Tanya replies, I'm sure that would help. Great. I'll tell Rose his new role on the team, and I'll be seeing you soon. Okay, good luck on your mission. And then it says you leave Tanya's house feeling prepared. Tanya lives at the inn with everyone else, so I'm going to say you leave Tanya's room feeling prepared. I'm just going to alter that like one word. So now I'm going to visit Rose and promote him to be the Monster Hunter Guild's new potion ingredient summoner, I guess. It's a very specific title. You go to Rose's room. You explain to him that you've come up with a new plan to promote the growth of the Monster Hunter Guild. Rose listens intently. Rose, you are now the new potion ingredient summoner. You'll be working closely with Tanya. Whenever Tanya needs a new potion ingredient, you'll use your plant manipulation abilities to create whatever ingredients she requires. That sounds a bit difficult, Rose replies, but I will gladly help. I knew you were the man for the job, you say. What happens next? Rose asks. Follow me to Tanya's room. She needs your help creating potions that temporarily prevent shapeshifters from shapeshifting. Let's see, do you want to go too, Zana? I want to finish my own work, Zana replies. You and Rose walk to Tanya's room. Once you arrive at Tanya's room, you knock on the door. Come in. Okay. So, I wait for Tanya and Rose to finish creating potions that prevent shapeshifters from shapeshifting temporarily. Excuse me. You go back to your room and wait for Rose and Tanya to finish the potions. A few minutes later, they come to you with the potions, which are stored inside of 2 little boxes of pills. Awesome. Ask Tanya and Rose to make enough potions for the entire Monster Hunter Guild. Well, actually, I'm going to ask Tanya what the name of these new potions are. I may have said that in a confusing way. We'll see. They're called Shapeshifters Pills, Tanya announces. What do? They make shapeshifters unable to shapeshift for 3 hours. Nice. I think I'm going to edit this to where she just says that in like her one announcement. They're called shapeshifter pills, period. They make shapeshifters unable to shapeshift for 3 hours. Awesome. That's good enough for me. And then I'm going to make sure that Tanya and Rose made enough pills, or I guess enough potions, for the entire Monster Hunter Guild. You gather all of the best hunters in the guild and tell them to take the potions. After about an hour, you've handed out all the potions. You explain to everyone how these potions work, then you realize something. Let's see. So that's not really what I meant to do. You were talking to Tanya and Rose. Right now I'm updating the story summary. You're talking to Tanya and Rose about their new potion that they just created to help in the fight against Captain Morinspeck. No, it's not Captain Morinspeck. My bad. Chief Morinspeck. Okay, I'm gonna retry the last action that I did, because all I'm trying to do is make sure there's just enough. Not like I want everyone to have the access to it. You and Rose need to make more of these pills, you say. I don't think there are enough hours in the day, Rose says nervously. We'll have to make do, you reply. There's no other option. That's not really how I would phrase that. Here's what I'll do. I'm gonna undo the action entirely, and I'm just going to say, like, ask Tanya and Rose to make enough potions for the entire Monster Hunter Guild. Like, pretty much we just need to make sure that everyone has these pills, so that if anyone gets close enough to Captain Morinspeck or Chief Morinspeck, let's see. Tanya said, I'll need the help of every member of the guild. How many potions do you need to make, you ask? She said, I'd say about 1,000 shapeshifters pills and about 5,000 health potions. I'm not trying to ask her to make all that. Hold on. Fuck it. She already made, like, multiple pills. We only need, like, one, I guess, to, like, actually get into Chief Morinspeck. And we have plenty. Maybe I'm complaining about, like, we need enough for everyone. She made 2 boxes. 2 little boxes of pills. I don't know how many pills are in each box. But I guess that doesn't matter. We already have multiple, and multiple is more than enough. So I'm going to undo that last action again, because it's like, I guess I'm being like too nitpicky to try and make sure that we have like enough. So what I'm going to do now is thank Tanya and Rose for their help. Like, that should be fine. Tanya and Rose go back to their work. You decide to continue your own as well. After finishing your work, you retire to your room. Over the next few weeks, you slowly become a respected member of the community. I don't like the part where it railroaded that I did stuff, so I'm going to just see Tanya and Rose, like, go back to their work or whatever. That's fine. So now, the only thing that we have left to do is gather together all of the members of the Monster Hunter Guild for a training exercise. Against an illusion of Chief Morinspeck. created by Eliza. You, Zana, Tanya, Rose, and Mason meet in the conference room. You sit down at the table. The test of courage goes well, Rose says approvingly. But I think we need to train for combat with real monsters. I agree wholeheartedly. I don't like this because that's not actually everybody in the guild. They name like some members of the guild. And one person who's not in the like Mason? Who the fuck is Mason? You tell all okay, so I just retried that action. You tell all of them to meet you in the practice area where Eliza will be helping you train them in fighting an illusion of Chief Morinspeck. When you arrive at the practice area, you see Zana, Tanya, and Rose there already. Eliza arrives. Okay. So I'm going to wait for the rest of the guild members, the rest of the Monster Hunter Guild members to arrive for today's training session. Once we're all trained up, we should be good to go. After waiting for an hour, the rest of your guild members arrive. They are Zana, who you've recently promoted to be your second in command and head of internal security. She has a waist-length brown hair and piercing green eyes. For one, Zana's already here. Two, it didn't continue the list, so it was just like Zana, and that was it. Also, Zana's been second in command like the whole time, I would argue. Cool. So I explain to your fellow members of the Monster Hunter Guild that Eliza will be creating illusions of our new gear and of Chief Morinspeck. The purpose... Okay. You explain that the purpose of this training exercise is to get used to using bastion armor, shapeshifters pills, and god killer gloves against Chief Morinspeck in preparation for the upcoming monster hunt. So Eliza will be creating an illusion of Chief Morinspeck. When she does, I want everyone to attack it with everything they have. The purpose of this is to get used to using your new gear and techniques against a real opponent. Let's begin, Eliza. Okay. So, I'm going to instruct every member of the Monster Hunter Guild. Well, I guess, no. I'm going to wait for Eliza to summon the illusions for today's training session. After waiting for an hour, Eliza's already here. She's here now. I just want her to start it. After waiting for an hour, the rest of the guild members arrived. They're already here. Everybody's here. We waited for an hour already. Eliza begins creating illusions of your new gear and of Chief Morinspeck. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to try and do is use hydrokinesis to try and force a shapeshifter's pill down the throat of Chief Morinspeck to prevent him down the throat of the illusion of Chief Morinspeck to prevent him from shapeshifting. I'm going to specify that the pill is also an illusion. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Because if this goes well, then once we do the real fight, we should be able to beat him. You run up to the Chief Morinspeck illusion, attempting to force the shapeshifter's pill down his throat. He shifts just as you reach him, hoping to fool you. You narrowly dodge the illusion of a bear's claw as it swipes at you. Aw, man. So he's already, like, shapeshifting. It's cool that he made a bear's claw. Okay. So, I could just try and go for the kill. So, I'm going to attempt to finish off Chief Morinspeck by punching his bear claw. Finish off the illusion of Chief Morinspeck by punching his bear claw with your God Killer glove. Because that's the thing. If he's normally like immortal, if he shapeshifts his hand into like a normal bear hand, then I feel like that's gonna make him like weaker. You run forward, attempting to hit the illusion of the chief with your God Killer glove. The illusion shifts into you, and the claw swipes at you. You duck out of the way, avoiding certain injury. Eliza, why isn't this working? No, I'm actually fine with him, like, shifting into me. Well, actually, I'm trying to figure out what that means. Does that mean that he shifted into me? Like inside of me? That actually is somewhat confusing. I might retry that just because I don't know what the hell it's trying to say. You and your fellow, right now I'm updating the story summary. You and your fellow Monster Hunter Guild members are training against an illusion of Chief Morinspeck in preparation, well, I guess to prepare for your next hunt. Okay. I don't know what it means when it says the illusion shifts into you and the claw swipes at you. You duck out of the way, avoiding certain injury. Does it shapeshift into me, or does it, like, shift through me? If it shifts into me, but it still has the claw, I don't fully understand. I guess it really doesn't matter. Either way, I dodged the fucking claw. I'm gonna get rid of the part where I ask Eliza why it isn't working. I'm going to command Lucy to use her telekinesis to hold Chief Morinspeck in place so that you can use the God Killer glove to finish him off. I should specify to hold the illusion of Chief Morinspeck in place. You grunt, attempting to hold the illusion of the chief in place. You succeed, and Lucy, seeing a great opportunity for you both, grabs your wrist. She whispers, "I love you," in your ear, before you channel all of your strength into your God Killer glove. So, hold on, what? So I asked Lucy to hold it with her telekinesis. I then hold it instead of Lucy and successfully keep Chief Morinspeck from moving. Lucy then confesses that she loves me, and then I channel all of my strength into the God Killer glove. So she just didn't do what I said. I guess it works out. Like, it's not really what I was trying to do, but I guess it's good to know that I myself can hold him as well. I don't really need Lucy. So I strike the illusion of Chief Morinspeck with all my might using the God Killer glove. You grunt. You grunt. All of your weight being thrown into your punch. Your fist slams into the illusion of the chief's chest. The force of your punch rips through his invisible chest, destroying the illusion, but also sending you flying back and knocking you out. Oh shit. So I guess I'm gonna wake up and use hydrokinetic healing salve on myself. Yeah, goodness. So I can beat him if I can just hold him and land like one punch. You wake up groggy from the pain. You pat yourself to make sure everything is still in your body. By some miracle, you were left your member. Thank you. They weren't so nice as to leave your sexual organs alone, though. Everything appears to be normal but a little wet. What? What? The implication is that someone... that's really uncomfortable. That was very unnecessary. Okay. Use hydrokinetic healing salve to refresh yourself. Ew. Yeah, Lucy like confesses her love for you, and then once you wake up from being unconscious, your private parts are a little wet. That's weird. You make sure everything is working as it should. Thankfully, you don't seem to be missing anything of importance. A little water splash on your face clears away the grogginess. You stand up, walking to the side of a river, and pour some healing salve in the river. I have no reason to do that last part. I'm not gonna fucking pour healing salve in a river. Cool. So they're like, you're fine. You're not really like hurt or anything, even though you should, for all intents and purposes, have like a concussion. You're just a little groggy, which sounds like a concussion, actually, now that I think about it. Okay, cool. I'm gonna thank Eliza for the training session. You say, thank you for the training session. The game then rewards you with a lovely video of your trainer undressing. As she disrobes, the screen goes black. Nope, the game is extra horny today. The game's super horny. Let's see. So now I know all I need to do is get to Chief Morinspeck, grab him, and then punch him really hard with the God Killer glove. He's fast. He might try to shapeshift into a bear. Doesn't matter. Okay. So I'm going to ask Big Kamid to take the Monster Hunter Guild on his boat. Well, hold on. I'm going to equip every member of the Monster Hunter Guild with Bastion armor, God Killer gloves, and shapeshifters pills. We need to have all the stuff because we're about to go on the expedition. Let's see. You and your fellow Monster Hunter Guild members are getting ready to head to the Eastern Forest to face off against Chief Morinspeck. The game said leave a comment down below of what you would like the next character creation part to be. I'm gonna hit retry because I don't know why it's trying to do my YouTube job. You head to a town reached by train. After taking a shuttle from the closest town to this one, you walk down the streets, armed with nothing but a quick blade and your wits. You walk into a shop where a storekeeper greets you. I don't know what's going on with these like completely random responses. Retry. That had nothing to do with what I said. You decide to equip every member of the Monster Hunter Guild with Bastion armor, God Killer gloves, and shapeshifter spills. The next day, you wake up and find that the goblins have attacked the village while you were sleeping. No, 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 because I'm not going to sleep. I was specifically told by your boy, Bartleby. No, 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 not Bartleby. No, yes, by Bartleby. That, like, you shouldn't use the Bastion armor until it's time for you to go fight Chief Morinspeck. So if I was to give everybody the armor and then go to bed, it could be a thing where like, and now the armor doesn't work, and then Chief Morinspeck teleports like everybody into the sun. No. I'm not, I have no reason to go to sleep. That's the whole reason why I like was refreshing myself or whatever. I just was knocked out, now I'm awake. Fuck that. Okay. So now I'm gonna ask Big Kamid to take the entire Monster Hunter Guild on his boat to head to the Eastern Forest to hunt down Chief Morinspeck. I mean, it's not even like ask. Just command him to do that. You grunt and nod your head. All right, Captain, sounds good to me. You heard the man. Sound the horns and get ready to break down camp. With a nod, Big Kamid breaks into a jog, quickly heading to his post. Soon a horn is heard blowing. I'm so confused. Like, the lines don't make a full amount of sense. I'm gonna retry. Like, some of the lines, I'm like, why isn't Big Kamid the one saying it? No, stop doing the next day. You can't wait. You can't wait the next day. Like, that's the thing. It keeps time skipping, but it's like, you can't time skip. If you put the armor on, it's temporary. You give Big Kamid the command to lead the entire guild to the Eastern Forest, but he's not having it. Why should we go all the way out there? The forest is large. We don't even know where the goblin tribe even is, he says. Okay? I'm fine with Kamid being, like, insubordinate. I'm going to explain to Big Kamid that the Monster Hunter Guild is hunting for Chief Morinspeck, who is commonly in the Eastern Forest. Which he knows, because he's the expert. Big Kamid sighs. Fine, I'll gather the members of the guild to join our little trip. I doubt you'll be disappointed with my choice of hunter. You shrug and dismiss Big Kamid as he walks out of the room. I mean, he's gonna get everybody. Is he not gonna get everybody? Wait for Big Kamid. To get all of the members of the guild together on his boat. And I'll specify the Monster Hunter Guild. Big Kamid's been acting weird today. Off of smell like garlic. He was insubordinate last time too. He was like a bunch of little sissy boys and girls on my boat, like last episode. Big Kamid gathers a few people on his boat, and within a few minutes of setting sail, the group arrives in the city. Big Kamid disembarks as you do. He says goodbye and leaves on his boat. No. What do you mean he gathers a few people and then we arrive at the city and then he leaves? That's not where we were supposed to go. He's not supposed to only bring like a few people on the boat. Yo, call for Big Cayman to come back, get all of the members of the Monster Hunter Guild together, and to take us all to the Eastern Forest. Big Cayman lumbers back and gets everyone together. He says, all right, we're all going on this trip, but be quiet as we travel through the city. We don't want to alert any guards of our departure. Okay? Sure. Ride on Big Cayman's boat with the rest of the Monster Hunter Guild to the Eastern Forest to hunt down Chief Morinspeck. The game keeps doing this thing where if I'm 100% ready to take down a monster, some other conflict has to happen. Like, characters have to start acting weird. The sun is hot, the sky is blue, the ocean water is clear and blue. You see fish swimming in the water as you approach Big Cayman's large boat. You stand on the deck of the ship, waiting for Big Cayman to arrive before setting sail. Big Cayman's already here. I loved everything else. Except for, like, you're waiting for him to set sail. So I'm going to, I guess I'm going to keep all these, like, atmospheric things that it said, but I'm going to get rid of the part where it's, like, you're waiting for him to set sail and, like, send on the deck or whatever. Talk to your fellow members of the Monster Hunter Guild. Well, actually, I'm going to just check to see if the boat has arrived at the Eastern Forest. Because if we're here, we can just get off. But if not, I'll, like, small talk. Let's see. It's wanting me to update the story summary, but I think it is... Well, I guess I can update it. Because now you and your fellow Monster Hunter Guild members have arrived at the Eastern Forest. Like, it looks like we're here. Because it says the boat slowly comes to a stop in front of the forest. You wait for Big Cayman to disembark, then you wave goodbye to the rest of the guild members as they go on their way. No. So I'm going to keep the part that says the boat slowly comes to a stop in front of the forest. And I'm going to get rid of everything else. Because we should all get off the boat. We never know if things might go awry and I'll need the rest of the team. Even though I did beat Captain Morinspeck by myself last time, things may not go as smoothly when we actually fight him. Especially since he has, like, a fortress and he's trying to build, like, an army of orcs. Like, this probably isn't going to go as smoothly as the training. The training was like a one-on-one, but in reality, we're likely not about to 1v1 him. So I want the crew. Okay. So let's see. You command your fellow members of the Monster Hunter Guild to put on all of their equipment and follow you into the Eastern Forest. You stand up and begin to put on your gear. The other monster hunters follow your lead. I'm going to command Zana to cast a locator spell to find Chief Morinspeck's fortress. Zana casts a magical spell that locates the exact position of the chief's fortress. Zana motions for everyone to follow her. She takes everyone into the forest. Within a few minutes, you see a large fortress made out of stone. Okay. Command Zana to teleport a shapeshifter's pill into Chief Morinspeck's stomach. And then to teleport Chief Morinspeck to the here. Just say here. Just teleport him here. So it's like once the pill is in his stomach, he won't be able to shapeshift. Will automatically like dig him. He can't dodge it. Zana quickly conjures a glowing blue pill and then begins to chant a magical incantation. A few minutes later, large footsteps are heard coming from the fortress. A large orc holding a thick steel mace comes out of the fortress. Ask Big Cayman if the large orc is Chief Morinspeck. Yes, that's Morinspeck, Big Cayman says. You stare at the large orc. He has a thick black beard and smells like rotting meat and poop. He stares at you with an evil grin on his face and a glint in his eye. Okay. Command Lucy to use her telekinesis to hold Chief Morinspeck in place. I need to make sure that he doesn't move so I can hit him. Lucy quickly raises her hands into the air and begins to chant a magical incantation. Chief Morinspeck's body floats in midair. Okay. Now, I'm going to use a strength potion to increase your strength and speed. Before leaping into the air to strike Chief Morinspeck with your God Killer glove. Let's see. So it wants me to update the story summary. So now you and your fellow Monster Hunter Guild members are facing off against Chief Morinspeck. Outside of his fortress in the eastern forest. Your hand glows with a deadly green light as you attempt to land a deadly blow on his head. Your body slams into Chief Morinspeck's, sending the pair of you falling out of your chair and onto the cold stone floor. We're outside in the middle of the forest, so no. I'm going to retry that. I liked the glowing green hands, but everything else didn't work. You consume a strength potion and immediately feel the effects. You leap into the air with the intention of landing a devastating blow to Chief Morinspeck. However, he manages to block your attack. His mace hits your armored body, and you fall to the ground with a thud. Okay, so that actually lines up a bit more. He is fast. I remember him being fast from the training. It might be an issue trying to take him down when he has that mace in his hand. I wonder if I can do something to disarm him of the mace. Okay. Use hydrokinesis to create tendrils made of water to disarm Chief Morinspeck. It's interesting. When we fought the illusion, he shapeshifted his hand into a bear claw. When we fight the real Chief Morinspeck, he just has a mace. Like, he's like, I can just have weapons. It says you use telekinesis to create a powerful stream of water and hit Chief Morinspeck with it. The water knocks his mace out of his hand, and it flies towards you. You catch it with your hand as Morinspeck stares at you in awe. I'm going to change where it says telekinesis to hydrokinesis. Lucy has telekinesis. I have hydrokinesis. Okay. So now I have Chief Morinspeck's mace, which I don't really care about. So I'm going to leap into the air once again and attempt to strike Chief Morinspeck in the chest with your God Killer glove. I like that Lucy this time around actually did lift him into the air. You leap into the air and bring your weapon down on Chief Morinspeck's chest, but he anticipates this move. He jumps out of the way just in time. The blade goes flying into the air and lands a few feet away. The blade. Maybe they mean the mace. Also, he can't jump. How could he... I get maybe that he could dodge it, because he's like floating in place, so maybe he like... But you can't jump. He has no footing. There's no... I'm going to replay that. Like, retry that. You can't jump for shit if there's no ground. He'd have to fly. He'd straight up just have to fly. So I just retried it. You jump into the air and prepare to bring the mace down on Chief Morinspeck. No, the mace wouldn't kill him. He's invincible and immortal. Then you feel a sudden pain in your head and a ringing in your ears. Everything begins to grow dark as you fall to the ground. Okay, excuse me. The only thing I'm going to change is the mace part. The God Killer glove down on Chief Morinspeck. But I am going to keep the everything goes dark thing. It was mentioned in a previous episode that the strength potions actually can have a negative effect on the user. So I actually am fine with like, oh, well, you took a strength potion and now you're not feeling so high. Okay. Try to recover and command Cammy to try and finish off Chief Morinspeck using her God Killer glove. So I'm going to try to recover using hydrokinetic healing salve. After using the healing salve, you feel your head begin to clear. You tell Lucy to try and finish off Chief Morinspeck using her God Killer glove. Nope, not Lucy, Cammy. Cammy is a straight up, like, mercenary. So I'm going to command Cammy to use her mercenary skills and God Killer glove to finish off Chief Morinspeck while he's disarmed and suspended in midair. It should be easy, like, to take him down. I think the issue is that I took the strength potion and it's having an adverse effect on me. But luckily, the hydrokinetic healing salve helped out. You tell Cammy to finish off Chief Morinspeck while he's disarmed and suspended in midair. She complies with your request. She leaps into the air and stabs him multiple times in the chest with her God Killer glove. Yes. You check to make sure that Chief Morinspeck has been slain. I like that she essentially just did the thing that I tried to do. Like, she's like, okay, I'll just leap into the air. I'll just, like, punch him repeatedly with the glove. You walk over to the body of Chief Morinspeck. He's dead. You help Cammy off of his body and she smiles at you. Suddenly, a loud horn blast is heard throughout the village. I'm going to correct it from village to throughout the forest, because we're currently in the forest. Okay. You and your fellow Monster Hunter guild members. Well, I guess I'm going to say, command Lucy to use her telekinesis. Well, I guess the first thing I should do is thank Cammy and no, just thank everyone for their help in taking down Chief Morinspeck. Because he's literally an immortal, invincible enemy. Let's see. You and your fellow Monster Hunter Guild members are getting ready to take the corpse of Chief Morinspeck to Ludmilla to claim the bounty. Yeah, to claim the bounty. She promised you. You walk over to the group of hunters, blades, mercenaries, and God's fangs. You thank everyone for their help and hand out fist bumps. Not with God Killer gloves on. Couldn't have done it without you, you say. Then the Blade's leader steps forward. It's getting us confused with like Skyrim stuff. Retry so that we can get rid of all the Skyrim stuff. And also the very inappropriate fist bumps when you're wearing gloves that can kill immortals. Please no fist bumps. Worst time for fist bumps. They just nick you with the God Killer gun and you just fucking die. You walk outside of the cave and thank everyone for their help in taking down Chief Morinspeck. Zana smiles and says that everyone should get paid now. You agree. Night arrives and you all retire to your beds for much needed rest. Nope. We're not even home. You can't go to bed. You can't go to bed yet. Also, we're in a forest. So let me just edit that. Instead of walking outside of a cave, because we weren't in a cave, I'm just gonna say like, you thank everyone for their help in taking down Chief Morinspeck. Zana saying like her smiling and saying everyone should get paid. I do agree with that. Like that is like the next step. I'm not gonna do like the night arrives and everybody like goes to bed. You can't. We're not camping here outside of the fortress of fucking Chief Morinspeck. I feel like that's a good way to just get killed by orcs or whatever. So here's the next like big thing that we have to do. Command everyone to take Chief Morinspeck's body back to the boat so that you can all set sail for Ludmilla's castle to claim the bounty on Chief Morinspeck. You tell your group to take Chief Morinspeck's body back to the boat so you can all set sail for Ludmilla's castle to claim the bounty on Morinspeck. They agree and start dragging his body off. Zana goes over to you. Follow your fellow guild members, fellow Monster Hunter Guild members, onto the boat while listening to Zana. Well, I guess while chatting with Zana. After you board the boat, you speak with Zana for a few minutes. She seems very glad that you two have become friends. You agree. Suddenly, Cammy approaches you. She seems angry for some reason. I'm gonna command Big Kamid to take us to Ludmilla's castle to claim the bounty on Morinspeck. You ask Cammy what's wrong. Cammy informs you that she's upset that you're leaving so quickly. She wanted to spend more time with you. You apologize and tell her that you're glad to have spent time with her. You assure her that you did have fun and will continue to think of her as your friend. That's confusing. We're all going together. We're all going together to Ludmilla's castle to claim the bounty. Like all the guild. You command Cammy to take you to Ludmilla. Nope, I'm commanding Big Cayman. Commanding Big Cayman. You tell Cayman to sail to Ludmilla's castle and to claim the bounty on Chief Morinspeck's head. Cammy complies with your command. As you set sail, Cammy looks at you angrily for a moment, then she looks away. Okay, better. I'm going to correct it from Cayman to Big Cayman, because they're just two different characters. So you tell Big Cayman to sail to Ludmilla's castle and claim the bounty on Chief Morinspeck's head. Big Cayman complies with your command. As you set sail, Cammy looks at you angrily for a moment, then she looks away. Okay, may I ask Cammy what's wrong? Yeah, like I'm trying to figure out like why Cammy's like upset with me now. Because she just helped to kill Chief Morinspeck. What's wrong? What's wrong? You're what's wrong. You've been acting really weird lately, and now you're just suddenly friends with Zana? How can you just be friends with her? She's a monster, Cammy yells. It's time to change to say, do. Zana is my best friend and my wife. I've been friends with Zana this entire time. I'm also friends with you and every member of the Monster Hunter Guild. I consider the Monster Hunter Guild to be my family. I love you all, and I am excited for us to all claim the bounty on Chief Morinspeck together. Okay, I'm sorry I misjudged you. I guess I've just been really stressed out lately, Cammy says, apologizing. Everything is happening so fast, and I'm not sure how to feel about it. It's good to have you as a friend. No problem, Cammy. If you need anything, feel free to ask me. I am here to help. Well, actually, there is one thing you could do for me, Cammy asked. Sure, what is it, you ask? Will you help me practice my fighting skills, Cammy asked? You nod your head. Let's see. So before, right now I'm updating the story summary. I said that we were getting ready to take the corpse of Chief Morinspeck to Ludmilla. Now, we are just straight up taking the corpse. We're taking the corpse to Ludmilla to claim the bounty. Okay. Tomorrow, Cammy, you and I can train together. I could have put a comma in there. Thanks, but I think I need to calm down tonight, Cammy says. I'm going to my room. Cammy walks off the ship and into her cabin. You watch as she leaves. Soon you arrive at Ludmilla's castle. Okay, so I'm going to change it to Cammy walks off the ship and back to the inn. Okay. Cool. So that implies that we've arrived over the course of like the talk with Cammy. So now, you and the rest of the Monster Hunter Guild, claim the bounty on Chief Morinspeck. I'm going to say claim the large bounty, because I did have her promise us a large bounty. After a long night of fighting goblins, the four of you finally slay Chief Morinspeck and claim his head as proof. You levitate it in a jar to the Countess, who was pleased with your work. You four have done well for me. There are more than four of us. We didn't fight goblins. Please stop bullshitting me. Retry. After you kill Chief Morinspeck and bring his head to the bounty store, you claim the portion of the reward that is yours. You take your payment and meet with Zana at the inn, where Cammy works. I'm surprised you came so quickly, Zana says. Nope, we already killed Chief Morinspeck. You don't have to talk about how we killed Chief Morinspeck, and we're not going to the bounty store. We just spent all this time getting to Leadmill's castle, because we're getting the bounty at Leadmill's castle. Retry. You and the rest of the guild go to Leadmill's castle, where she thanks you for saving her life. After a small celebration, you present her with the severed head of Chief Morinspeck. Okay? Claim the large bounty Leadmilla promised you, and split it with the rest of the Monster Hunter Guild. Thanks for saving my life, Leadmilla says. I was in a dark place after my husband left me. I don't know what I would have done without you guys. Leadmilla pulls out a roll of bills out of her dress and gives it to you. Okay. I'm Leadmilla's husband. When she said save your life earlier, I was expecting her to be talking about killing Chief Morinspeck. It seemed like he was a threat, which makes sense because he's like immortal and invincible. Retry. The husband thing's confusing because I'm her husband. The next day, you and the rest of the guild go to claim the large bounty Leadmilla promised. Why? Why would we wait a day? Just let us do it now. We just partied with her. Yeah, there we go. With the large bounty, I just retried it, by the way. With the large bounty, you become filthy rich and gain a lot of influence in the region. The rest of the guild also gain enough money to open up their own business. Zana gets married and moves away with her new husband. Cammy dies during a hunt. Whoa. What? The thing that bugs me about this one is like, we already are our own business with the guild. We already are filthy rich and have a lot of influence. Zana's already married to me. It's like the game's trying to like fast track it. Like it's like the end of like a movie, and it's trying to say like all this stuff happens or whatever. Yeah, and I'm currently stuck in a predicament where I'm either like, I guess I don't like it because it's too final. There's too many like final things happening. Let me retry it. It's weird to retry that one because technically I could have let that slide and just tried to play around with it. But I'm not because there's so many big changes. You claim the large bounty Leadmilla promised you and split it with the rest of the guild. You all go back to Zana's inn, where she keeps a small safe for everyone who is a member of the guild to store their gold in. Okay. I kind of like that. And then there was a line that said, well, I did it. But it didn't actually say who said that. I'm going to get rid of that line that said, well, I did it. I'm going to say that we go back to Zana's room at the inn. And I'm glad that they explained that we have like a safe. I used to always say we stored the money at the inn, but I never said where we stored it. now we know it's all stored in Zana's room or whatever. So now I'm going to thank every member of the... I already thanked everybody. I'm going to ask if Zana and I could have some privacy in her room. Because Zana seems to be, like, super horny, as implied by, like, stuff that happened earlier in the adventure. Not in the adventure. In the adventure. So I'm going to say... Well, here's what it said in response to that. Zana, may I speak to you in private, you ask? Zana nods her head, and the pair of you go into your room at the inn. What's on your mind? Zana asks as she sits on your bed. Now it's time to change from do to say. Zana, you've been really horny recently. Earlier, I accidentally upset you. When I didn't accept your like advances. The only reason why I didn't accept your advances earlier was because I was focused on the mission at hand. Now that the mission is over, and we won't be doing another hunt until tomorrow, would you like to be intimate tonight? Because that's the terminology that she used earlier. So that's what we'll call it. Hopefully YouTube doesn't get mad. Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. You really know how to make a girl feel special, Zana says, smiling. So it's settled. We shall get intimate tonight, Zana says as she kisses you on the lips. Okay, cool. Hopefully we can skip anything too explicit by saying, like, get intimate with Zana, and then get into... when your brain's like, do I want to skip it? Do I want to skip it? I want to get it out of the way so we can say that it happened and then move on and then go to bed, and that'll be the end of the episode or whatever. So just get intimate with Zana, and then after that go to bed, and then I'll be fine. But I feel like it's episode 12. We might as well do it. Yeah, it skipped it, so it wasn't like ultra explicit or whatever. I'm glad. Hey. You and Zana are getting intimate in your room at the inn after a successful monster hunt. I'm glad. YouTube would have been very upset if it had gone in any explicit detail. You and Zana get intimate in your room at the inn. After a pleasant night, you wake up in the morning. Any plans for today? Zana asks. Not really, you reply. We got finished with our hunt yesterday. So I'm going to get rid of my reply or whatever. And then we'll stop it here. So that was episode 12 of Jet, Starlight, and Zana, Fairy Monster Hunters. If you guys like this video, make sure to smash that like button, favorite, comment, subscribe. If you guys want to check out the series in its entirety, I have a link in the end card to the series playlist. I also have a link to the series playlist in the description box below. If you guys would like to read the story in full, feel free to do so by clicking on the link in the description. And if you guys want to talk about the series together, we can do so in the comment section below or on our Discord. I have a link to the Discord in the description. Thank you all once again for watching. This is your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black One Only, logging out. Peace, guys. Chicka da gawa.